all to our second class in the series Holistic Healing for Ramadan. And to recap, we just last week introduced the topic of Tibb Nabawi. We said Tibb Nabawi refers to all the prophetic advices regarding healthcare that Prophet gave to the Sahaba. And Tibb Nabawi also recognizes that every act of ibadah provides healing on so many levels. And we know during the month of Ramadan it's the one time where we expand on all the acts of ibadah and we improve on it. So in order for us to have a deeper appreciation, if we look at our acts of ibadah and what it brings to our lives in terms of our social structure, the jama'ah, the type of benefits that fasting brings, the type of benefits that the salah, tikaf, reciting the Quran, we look through Tibb Nabawi, which recognizes that everything has a scientific benefit. Everything has a benefit for the mind, body and soul. So hydrotherapy, hydro means water, therapy, healing. So the healing waters of wudu has been expounded upon throughout the ages in the books of Tibb Nabawi, where water is recognized as an important part of our day-to-day lives when it comes to healing. And Allah says in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah says that every living thing has been made from water. And this is a very important statement because 1400 years ago, this scientific fact was not known. However, the Sahaba said, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They believed in it, in every word. And therefore we find that they are superior human beings in terms of their well-being, the levels of taqwa, the strengths of their bodies, the ability to handle stress, the ability to deal with all the challenges that life presents to us. So when we look at water, we find that throughout the Quran that water has a big role to play in our lives. The Jannah is described by water. One of our biggest aspirations is to drink from the pond of Kawthar. We know that the 3/4 of the world is made up of water. We know that the human body, as you are sitting there, you are more water than anything else. But if you are drinking anything else but water, you might be more coke than anything else. Or frullati, or chai, or whatever the drinks are. So understand that Tibb Nabawi recognizes water as the drink of Jannah. So often when you visit people's houses, they would say, I only have water. You know, making it sound like water is an inferior drink. But today, more than ever, we appreciate water. I mean, we know we're struggling without water. So definitely, Tibb Nabawi recognizes there is no drink better to the human body for absorption, for digestion, for excretion than water. We know children are inclined towards water. Children, the fetus grows in a medium of water. When Allah describes His rizq to the earth, it is from the samawat. Our rizq comes to us via the rain. And we know water sports is also something that's beloved to us. One of the sunnahs that He recommended for the Sahaba was to swim. Swimming is an excellent therapy. It's an excellent way to keep the body fit. And it also falls within hydrotherapy. So hydrotherapy is the use of water for healing, whether you use it externally or internally. And throughout the ages, we find that Muslims developed hydrotherapy, like the Turkish baths that we know, saunas, jacuzzis, Houdini spa, that feeling you get when you sit in that heated water, it cleanses the body. That's hydrotherapy. Hydrothermal therapy refers to using water at different temperatures. So water has various qualities. Hot water can take away the cold from the body, can increase blood supply, it relaxes the muscles. Cold water, on the other hand, can cause what they call vasoconstriction, so it decreases blood supply. It can help to reduce swelling. And there's various ways of using water. But when it comes to Islam, we find that Allah places water in the middle, central to our deen. We know this famous hadith where Prophet said that purity is half of faith, meaning half of your iman relies on how pure we keep the body. So in other words, every act of ibadah is connected to purification. And Allah says to the Prophet in the hadith, purify these bodies and Allah will purify you. And there's numerous ayat in the Quran. Allah says, Inna Allah yuhibbu tawwabin wa again, that Allah connects repentance, freeing yourself from sin to purifying yourself. To show when Islam talks about purification, it's holistic purification. It means it refers that we have to keep the body clean, we have to keep the mind clean, the heart clean, as well as our deeds. And there's many other verses that backs that up as well. And in the Prophet's life, we find various aspects of his day-to-day life revolved around cleansing the body. I think I mentioned a while ago that the miswak is recognized as a superior toothbrush today, better than your Oral-B, because each bristle releases chemicals that is beneficial for the mouth, for the gums, for the health of the entire oral cavity. Ramadhan used to use itter. He loved the smell of musk and oud and camphor. And today a science of aromatherapy developed from that. So much so that scientists recognize that certain flowers and plants has an effect on your mood. Certain smells can uplift you. I read a scientific article the other day that the smell of camphor is an antidepressant, meaning it can uplift your mood when you smell it for too long. And if you think about when do we use camphor? We use it with the janazas. And when people are feeling down, that smell actually does something. It allows people to cope. The smell of camphor. So in our deen, there's various things that we do that we take for granted, but in actual fact, it's benefiting our lives. And the aim of the course is to recognize those things so that when the month of Ramadan comes, we value those things, we imbibe it in our lives, and whilst you value it and you think about it, you increase the efficacy because your perception of it, you add greater value to it. So constantly as you do it, you connect goodness to it. So it's not just putting on the atar because it's sunnah, it's because that sunnah has other effects on the body. So the acts of ibadah that we're going to speak about, by no means are we saying do the act of ibadah to get physically fit. The purpose of ibadah, like Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that we have been created to worship Allah. But when we do so, according to the sunnah, we improve our life. We bring about holistic healing. And we will discuss some of those things. So we know that the basmala, to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, is an integral part of every action in Islam. The Prophet informed us that whenever we do a deed and we do not say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it is devoid of barakah. And whilst researching the topic of thoughts and intention and uttering certain phrases, I came across the study of Dr. Emoto. He's a Japanese doctor that conducted several studies on water molecules. And online you will see there's a lot of videos about his work. And he studied molecules of water and he found that the molecules of water reacts to our intentions, our thoughts and our phrases. So he conducted several experiments. So in order to understand a bit about the subject, you have to know that the water molecule consists of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So water has various forms that it can take. When these molecules come together and it's tightly knit, it forms ice. When heat's added to it, it becomes more fluid, the molecules spread apart, it becomes water. And when you heat it up more, it becomes steam, so it's spread apart. So he conducted experiments on different water, so different glasses of water, and he instructed scientists to utter certain phrases on the water. So it included positive phrases like, I love you, and in the name of God, and various phrases he took from different places. And some scientists were reciting positive things on water, and the others were reciting negative things on water. Afterwards, they would freeze the water and would analyze the water under a microscope. And he found that whenever positive words were used, water assumed a beautiful or a very well-structured design. Whenever bad language we use, it has an effect on the water. It changed the molecules. And then he also noticed that polluted water had the same effect. However, when prayer was added to water, the molecules changed. He conducted a study on food as well. He found food that was continuously recited upon had longer shelf life than the food that had negative words recited on it. So in our deen, we know that this concept is well known. We know that when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we automatically bring barakah to the situation. The hadith comes to mind that the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the Sahaba and they were enjoying a feast. And everybody was partaking in it and they could feel the barakah descending. The Prophet ﷺ said that the barakah always descends to the middle of the plate. So never consume in the middle, consume the food that's closest to you. And whilst they were eating the food, one of the Sahaba recognized that there was a loss of barakah. And he questioned the Prophet ﷺ. He said that he noticed something change in the meal. And the Prophet informed him that somebody stepped in and joined them without saying Bismillah. And therefore the shaitan partook of the meal. And when that person did say Bismillah, the barakah came back again. So the question is, if this scientific evidence shows that what we utter has an effect on water molecules, what effect does words have on us if we are made of more than 70% water? When you utter things to somebody. Therefore you find the entire sunnah is about good adab. The Prophet has been sent to perfect character. So everything about his lifestyle was being gentle and suited, his advice suited the person's character. And that is medicine. Ibn Abu is teaching us that the adab that we get through the sunnah is medicine. Because somebody could have entered that door today with the wall of worries on his shoulder. But because he came in contact with somebody in the masjid that was practicing the sunnah, that gave him the smile. And I'll do that experiment again. Just see what happens if I smile. You have to smile with him. It has an effect on you. So that's what happens when somebody practices the sunnah and he smiles towards somebody just for the sake of Allah, he uplifts that person's heart. So that person's come to the masjid with a world of worry on his shoulder, he received the smile, he received the handshake, he stood next to somebody in salah, his iman could have been rock bottom. But because the person's next to him, his iman was high, it had an effect on him. They were standing shoulder to shoulder, they stand and so forth. Understand that that is a psychological preparation for strength and unity. When you stand in it so forth, there's plenty of people that are weak in that so forth, but because they're standing with strong people in that so forth, they become strong. Therefore you find our deen is about strengthening, about order, about doing things together, about the strong looks after the weak. We uplift each other, because we don't know what's the status of each other's iman. So therefore constantly, whoever, no matter what your iman is, come back to the mosque to renew it, no matter what your status. Therefore the deen never shuts the door on anybody. And that is healing. That is Tibba Nabawi. And today it's well known that people who perform ibadah together regularly, they have better coping mechanisms. So in order to have a bigger appreciation for using water, if you look at microbiology, it recognizes that germs are all over, all around us, in the air, on everything we touch. And studies that were done shows that the most dirtiest surface would be our cell phones, our touch pads, because we never ever wash them. We never ever clean the touch pad screens. And that's the screens that actually get touched all the time, so you're transferring bacteria all the time. So with all these diseases around, some people go around wearing masks and gloves and spraying everything. But the scientists are saying the best way to protect yourself is to wash your hands throughout the day. And I mentioned this before, that there was a time when this was not known in Europe during the Dark Ages. Diseases wiped out half of Europe and stopped at the borders of the Islamic Empire simply due to the hand-washing practices of the Muslims, the wudu, the ghusl. So in Europe, looked at Muslims, they saw people that's living a superior lifestyle, and their lifestyles are only superior due to the sunnah. So when you wash your hands according to the fiqh of wudu, and it says that you must wash it thoroughly, make sure you get the water must touch every surface, you find that 90% of the germs in your hands can be released or removed. And a hadith comes to mind, the Prophet said that when you perform wudu correctly, that the sins leave your hands even beneath the fingernails, which connects the removal of sin from beneath the fingernails to the removal of dirt between the fingernails or under the fingernails, showing that it's a holistic purification. There's no purification just for one part of you. The entire process, the Prophet taught us that when you wash your hands, you're actually washing away any bad that you did with your hands. When you wash your mouth, it all symbolizes certain things that you did. So it's not just you getting done for salah. There's bigger significance to the wudu. Studies were done on the mouth to also show that it harbors a lot of bacteria. And when you rinse your mouth correctly, according to the sunnah, you can remove over 90% of the germs that sit in the mouth. What is the purpose of noses, the hair in your nose? That's definitely not the purpose of nose hairs. The purpose of nose hairs is to act as a net. So the hairs are there to trap the dust and the bacteria that you inhale. But what happens when that net is full? So it holds all the dirt and the dust and the bacteria. When you go sleep at night, you will inhale that into your body. So you inhale it into your sinuses. It leads to inflammation. It worsens your allergies. It can lead to tonsillitis. It can lead to colds and flus, worsen your asthma, and the list goes on. And studies were done on noses. And it found that those people that rinse their nose according to the Sunnah has almost no traces of bacteria in it. Because if you have to rinse your nose according to the Sunnah, it means that you will sniff up water until you feel it burn and you will forcefully blow it out. So you're cleansing your nose at least 5 times a day. So studies were done on people that looked after the Sunnah of wudu, and it's found that they were free of bacteria due to all the entry points. And what's also amazing is that the Sunnah of wudu happens to be all the entry points of bacteria. The mouth, the nose, and the ears. That's the entry points of the bacteria to get into your body. So when you learn a bit of fiqh and you find out about the faraid and the Sunnah, and you find out, okay, if I just perform the farad, my wudu is still intact. But if you add the Sunnah, you increase your immunity. You beautify that ibadah. So the aim of the presentation is to recognize that when we look after the Sunnah of everything, we improve various aspects of our lives, and most of it we're not being unaware of. So therefore you approach the professionals in different fields. If you were to speak to a psychologist and ask them about what the wudu does in light of the Sunnah, you will find different advices or scientific findings on what the wudu does to the mind. It calms the mind, it takes away worry. And studies have also shown that when you are stressed, you tend to bite on your jaws. You bite hard, the muscles in your neck tense up. So when you perform the wudu and you're washing the face, it acts as a massage. So there's certain points in your face called trigger points, pressure points, that if you massage it, it can bring about relaxation in the face. The Shuyukh Ibn Abu says that if you perform wudu correctly, it brings radiance to the face. So we know when you massage something, you increase blood supply to it, and it causes the skin to be radiant. The human body has various circulatory systems. The heart circulates blood in the body. Then we have lymph glands, which captures bacteria, but it doesn't have anything to pump it out of the body. So it relies on muscle movement. So when you perform the wudu, when you wash your arms, you're massaging the arms, moving the lymph to the areas where it should go. And if you look at surgeons and you see how they wash their hands, it will actually mimic that of wudu. And as besides cleansing the surface, what I'm mentioning is what comes to mind. The list, there's huge chapters on each posture of wudu and what it does to the body. Washing the skin means that you're cleansing the skin of debris, you're cleansing the pores in your skin, you're revitalizing the skin, you're improving the elasticity of the skin. There's various pressure points on the face and the forehead. The Prophet informed us that when you become angry, know that anger is from shaitan. Shaitan is made of fire, so cool him down with water. So when you become angry, perform wudu, because that water cools you down. Because anger comes from a place of fire. It comes from the middle of the gut. It comes up, it causes heat to rise, your eyes become red, the blood pressure rises, your pulse beats fast, and you utter things that you cannot control. But in that moment, if you practice the Sunnah, if you step out of the position, Prophet said, that when you become angry, if you're standing, sit down. If you're sitting, lie down. When you do changes to your body, you actually subdue that anger. Because what happens when you become angry, you aggress, you jump up, you move forward. But if you stop yourself, even for a split second, you can intervene that build-up of heat. On the ears, we find that in the reflexology, different parts of the ears correspond to different systems of the body. So the wudu actually cleanses the ears, but it also stimulates different organs in the body. And that likewise for the feet. Cleansing the feet brings relaxation to the feet. So think about a day in the office, or a day when you're busy and you're on the road the whole day, and the time of salah comes. If you recognize that every posture in salah and every posture in wudu, every position in wudu brings relaxation to that body part, you can actually feel that. And then the salah will become something that you long for because it's your place of coolness, it's your place of rejuvenation, it's your place of relaxation. Therefore we find during the month of Ramadan, our tempers are subdued. We are more gentle with people. The person that you would never give sadaqah to, you open your heart up to them in the month of Ramadan. Somebody comes to you and asks for something, that thing might have caused you to become extremely angry out of the month, but during Ramadan it's subdued. Because every act of ibadah that you're looking after is adding that to your life. It's bringing value to your life. And when you control your anger, it's not to the beneficial of the rest of people. It's beneficial to your body. Because anger within your body harms your internal organs. There's people that die from anger. There's people that have heart attacks from anger. That's proven. People become worked up, blood pressure goes up, their vessels are damaged. And it happens every day. So think about the person that harbors hate and anger every day of their life. Therefore we find when the Sunnah speaks about forgiving, about embracing the people that have done wrong to you, it's not that the Sunnah is saying let them off the hook. Islam is all about justice. But Allah connects the forgiveness, His forgiveness to forgiving people, because scientifically it's proven that when you forgive somebody, you actually free your body of stress. Speak to the person that actually forgave somebody. They'll tell you it feels like a weight is off my shoulders. Some canes burden for the rest of my life. Somebody did something to you. And every time you see that person, you've got this hate and this envy, but it's killing you inside. Literally, if we were to measure what's happening in your body, we will see your organs are being damaged from that hate. But when you forgive, you are doing yourself a favor. So forgiving is actually something to save our lives. So sometimes we try to use our own logic to why I should do this. But if we practice like the Sahaba did, Sami'ana wa Ata'ana, we will find holistic benefit coming to our lives. Through the scientific way, we just have a bigger appreciation. So on the day of Qiyamah, it will be said to us, the Prophet informed that his ummah will be coming with bright faces and limbs due to the traces of wudu. So whoever amongst you is able to increase his brightness, let him do so. So it's an incentive for us to look after the wudu, to perform the wudu correctly, but also to appreciate the wudu, not to rush through the wudu. I remember that when I was at Darul Naim, my last year, our teacher Ali would always give us a pep talk on what's your plans for next year. Who's going to study further, who's going to study science or TIB. You mentioned the word TIB. So I went home that night, that word stuck with me. And in the newspaper I saw an article saying that the Unani TIB course is offered at UWC. So I went in and they said that you're lucky, there's an introductory course, sit in. And I sat in a lecture and the professor was talking about hydrotherapy. And he was speaking about anger management. And he spoke to the class and he said what's important, the important tool in the anger management treatment. They spoke about counseling, that you have to use proper words and you have to talk with the person and work through whatever matter they're struggling with. And this person that's struggling with this anger issue should use hydrotherapy. And then one of the doctors stood up and he said, this is a proven method to bring about calmness to your body on a day-to-day basis. And the person said, take some water and wash your hands, wash it thoroughly. Gargle your mouth, but ensure that you puff your cheeks, because if you puff your cheeks, you actually relieve tension. Put the water in your nose, wash your face, wash your right limb and your left limb. And then I realized this person performs will do better than I do. And this person said that this is what they give to patients, to help them with the anger, and people do this. And then I thought to myself that there's so much in our being that we don't know about, that we do on a day-to-day basis, but we take it as a ritual. And we take it as something mundane. And it reminds me of a hadith where Allah says that He treats His slave the way the slave thinks of Him. So if we hold our acts of ibadah on a high pedestal, if we hold it on that, like the Sahaba held it, their lives revolved around the salah and the wudu, and they looked after it. And therefore we find they were the greatest of people. So the next aspect of our ibadah will be the salah, the different postures. I call it the postures of the prophets because it is the perfection of ibadah. So in order for us to appreciate salah, we have to look at everything connected to the salah. And what is the main aspect of salah is the awqat. the different times of the salah, which coincides with the natural cycle of the universe, the changing of the night and the day, the alternating of the sun, so sunrise, sunsets. And scientists have shown that the times of the salah coincides with different energy levels in your body. So tonight when you go home and you lay in your bed, you don't simply intend to sleep. Like, you don't just stand there and say, Salah, and then you sleep. It doesn't happen like that. In actual fact, there's many processes that started to happen at Maghrib time already. When the sun set, your body picked up senses, there's senses in your body that picks up the change in temperature, the change in light, and it increases a hormone called melatonin, which is a sleep hormone. So this hormone circulates in your body and it makes you relax. At the same time, the adrenaline hormone and cortisol is decreased. That's the hormone of activity. So if you practice the sunnah and after Isha Salah you go home and within 2 hours you sleep, you will sleep during a period that your body will find maximum rest. So if you speak to sleep therapists, they talk about 5 stages of sleep. And when you reach the 5th stage, that's the deepest stage, and that's when you actually feel relaxation. But it takes you a while to get there. So the first part would be you're laying down, but you're fully aware of your environment. The second part would be that you're starting to doze off, but a loud sound will wake you up. The third part would be that you are gone, loud sounds will wake you up, but if somebody touches you, you will wake up. And then it goes on until the 5th stage where you're actually so deep that your senses aren't so acute anymore and your body relaxes. And studies have shown that that happens between 10 and 2 o'clock at night. So if you sleep between that time, you will get a high quality sleep that you won't find any other time of the day. But if you sleep much later than that for longer hours, you won't get that quality of sleep. So every hour between 10 and 2 o'clock counts as double those hours any other time of the day, because the night has been made for relaxing, for sleeping. So when the salah, the wudu, our day-to-day ibadah puts us in the natural cycle of the universe. And we are natural beings. We are made from soil, we are made from dust, we need water, we need air. So when we're living in our environment like that, we find that you improve your energy levels, your productivity. But if you go home tonight and you're watching movies all night, the light from the screen, if you're busy on Facebook or on your computer, the light is artificial light. And it has been proven to suppress melatonin. So in other words, it prevents you from sleeping later on. Because your mind, you're not being gentle to the body, easing your body into the sleep, you're bombarding your body with images. So what happens to the people that watch action movies and horror movies? So you're not saying don't enjoy a movie now and then. You're saying be aware that prolonged stimulation at night prevents sleeping. So therefore you find in the modern world that one of the biggest problems is insomnia. People struggle to sleep because it's overstimulation of your mind. But those that are following according to the Sunnah and the objective is Fajr tomorrow morning, they hasten to sleep after Isha, they wake up at least 2 hours or an hour before Fajr fully rejuvenated, as opposed to those that push it till the late hours and then it becomes difficult. So even for Ramadan, have a sleeping plan. The Qailula is scientifically proven to be the best way to rejuvenate your day. The Prophet used to sleep in the middle of the day. Some riwayat says before the Dhuhr, some says after the Dhuhr. But that small nap was a revitalizer for the late night ibadah. And he would sleep after Isha. So to get up in the middle of the night tahajjud was possible because he planned to do that. It was all planned. The body needed rest. But what happens sometimes in Ramadan, we late up at night, but we still want to make tahajjud. We force ourselves awake and then the body gets burnt out. Then what happens is the first few nights we make the tahajjud, but the last night, 10 nights at count, we're burnt out already. So understand that you have to train the body, you have to be gentle on the body. And when ibadah starts harming the body, then the quality of the ibadah is questionable, because we know the whole deen has come to bring ease to us. The sunnah is about being easy on the body. Tibb an-Nabawi is about doing gentle things to the body that's natural. So if you look at the fiqh of salah, it is connected to finding the waqt according to viewing natural phenomena. So to look outside at the horizon, that's how the waqt of Fajr is recognized. To look at Zawal. So when you do these things, you're connecting with nature, you're looking out there. So in Tibb an-Nabawi, for man to be connected to nature is the most important thing, because the world around us reminds us of Allah. Sabbaha lillahi ma fi samawati wal ard. Allah says everything in the heavens and the earth worship Allah. And when we align ourselves to Allah's worship, we should be living a natural life. When we look out of the window and we appreciate Allah's uniqueness, Allah's greatness through His creation. So, the person that wakes up for Fajr and he slept well, it means that he wakes up at a time when that melatonin that causes you to sleep starts to decrease, and close to Fajr time your body picks up the changes in the light, the changes in the atmosphere. So before Fajr, the hormone of activity starts increasing in your body. So around about Fajr time, everybody's productivity hormone starts to increase. So whoever connects the intention to that, they have a more beneficial day. The Prophet informed us that the 2 rak'ahs of Fajr is worth more than the entire dunya, more than what the world contains. And he says that that Fajr holds our sustenance. And if you look around the world to all life coaches, successful people, the thing that they have in common is that they wake up early hours in the morning. They wake up before sunrise. If you look at the 7 habits of the most successful people around the world who are all billionaires, the one thing they have in common is they all wake up before sunrise, because the body is naturally in tune to be more productive that time. What happens on the days we make Fajr on time? We find our days go well, we have longer days, we can plan better. What happens when we oversleep Fajr? The day feels bad, it feels like I lost out on something big. So in the waqt of Fajr, there's massive changes. There's a change of the new shift. There's light, the sun comes to the earth, there's warmth, there's rizq coming down. So speak to people that Hufad and people who study Arabic or any science. When they do it early hours in the morning, that knowledge sticks. Speak to a businessman. If he starts planning in the morning, his plan works out well. So the waqt of Fajr actually is a stepping stone to productivity for the day. Handing the matter over to Allah means that you started the day on the best way possible. Studies have shown that the changes in the light also have an effect on your body. The yellowness, orange, is known as color therapy. The sight of those colors in nature stimulates your mind. At Fajr time, there's a release of a gas called O3. This gas is never released at any other time of the day due to the temperature and the light. And this gas is said to invigorate your nervous system. So inhaling that fresh breeze of the Fajr morning has an effect on your senses. It wakes you up. It improves your concentration span. So when you go to work, from 6 to 9 o'clock, your body is at probably the most highest rate of productivity. But at work, wherever you are, as it comes to Zawal time, when the sun is at its zenith, everybody's energy levels is at a low. And if you're sitting at work and you're busy with a whole lot of work and you need to finish, and the waqt of Dhuhr comes and you say to yourself, I'm just going to finish it quickly, you are going against the productivity of your body. Your body is not in a state to actually do work. But if you break away and you perform the hydrotherapy, so you're sitting in your desk with all the worries in your world, what the bills you must pay, what the late deadlines, or getting in trouble by the boss, whatever it is. Whilst you're sitting there, that worry on your mind does not allow you to become productive. Your body is in a state of tiredness. If you look at what happens to the human body when they sit for too long, you'll see that there's a decrease in your blood circulation. Certain organs get damaged when you sit for prolonged periods. Studies were done on a population of people that watches TV for 6 to 8 hours a day. And it showed the longer you watch TV for more days, over years, it decreases your lifespan. So the people that watch all day for many days, over a 10-year period, they have shorter lives. Because sitting, we are not supposed to be stagnant.